Awesome.
Hey guys, welcome back to Deep Fried Awesomeness, and today I'm bringing you a video to talk about some newer movies that I've seen and trying to catch back up with things here. Now, of course, there are a lot of big movies that have come out in the past year and that are coming out this year, and it's going to be a very busy year. Going to try and cover as many of these movies as I can, but there is a lot coming this year. There's a lot of films that I'm very hyped for. Films like Ant-Man, Quantumania, very hyped for that movie. I'm interested in the new Scream movie, and I am curious to see all of the newer horror movies that are be coming out this year as well. We'll definitely see if this year is going to be a good or bad year for movies. To me personally, I'm looking at it and I'm saying it's going to be a pretty damn good year. But today, I wanted to talk about two movies that I've seen recently, and they are not horror films. Shockingly. And these are two movies that after I was done watching them, I wanted to get on here and discuss them with you guys. Those films are The Whale and Babylon. The first film up is The Whale, and this is a movie that I went to go and see at a very small showing. I had to definitely go out and look for this movie to watch it. It wasn't widely available, which is really shocking to me because this is a film that had a lot of stuff being said about it, a lot of publicity, a lot of people praising this movie, so I figured it would have had a pretty wide release. This film, I thought, was a very slow build with an emotional story and was extremely well directed by Darren Aronofsky. I'm a really big fan of this director. I love Requiem for a Dream, and I think he brung his A game to this movie. Visually, this movie is amazing. It's shot on a certain aspect ratio. It's definitely more of a cropped movie. The aspect ratio is a little bit more tighter than normal films, which I thought really added to the movie. It's a very well shot movie. It looks great. It's directed very well, and it's written well. It's acted well. And I don't want to give away too much about the film, but overall, I thought the movie was very, very well done. I enjoyed Brendan Fraser's performance in the movie. It's a, at times, extremely hard movie to watch. Just seeing what his character is going through and the emotions. You really feel bad for this character, and you also get to know the other characters and members of the cast, and get to see that these are not good people, bad people. These are just kind of people, and they each individually have their own characteristics and personalities. And it felt very realistic in that way. And, you know, if anything, I want to say that this is a very dark movie, but it also is a movie that is trying to show a person trying to do one more thing with the time they have left. And it's a very well-made movie, and it's overall I thought it was really good. And you know, I thought just everything about it, you know, direction, cinematography, everything, you know, even down to the story and the acting. I do want to say this movie is pretty dark, so I will say going into this movie, definitely be prepared for that. It is a very dark, grim movie at times. It can get kind of depressing, but it's a very important movie. It's a very important movie. It delves into a lot of the topics such as obesity and loneliness and regret. And I think it's a wonderfully made movie, and I definitely recommend for you guys to go and check it out. And if I had to rate it out of 10, I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10. Very, very well made movie. Definitely go check it out. It's just well directed, well acted, and all around a good movie. If I had any problems with the movie, it'd be little things. My main thing was it's a very slow movie. A lot of dialogue. A lot of Brendan Fraser alone in these scenes. And this is probably Brendan Fraser's best acting performance. I'm a big fan of this actor. I love The Mummy. I love Encino Man. I've seen a lot of his work, and I'm a huge fan of Brendan Fraser, but I really think he brings his absolute A game in this movie. And there are moments where his acting nearly made me shed a tear. And I'm not, I'm not over here bullcrapping that. It's legit. Like, there's moments in this movie where I almost shed a tear. And it's a very emotional performance. But I do think the movie is a lot of just slow moments, dialogue heavy, very, very dialogue heavy. And there are times where I did think the movie slowed down a bit. But other than that, there are a few characters that I thought were pretty unlikable, but at the same time, they're kind of meant to be unlikable. So in a way, it's not really a problem. But like I said, guys, I think you guys should all go out and see this movie. It's extremely well made and solid 7 out of 10 for me. It was a rough movie to get through at times, but I thought it had a wonderful ending, very, very beautiful ending. And I think it deserves all of the credit and award it's going to get, and I hope it wins. I hope it wins awards. I hope it gets a lot of those things. I think it truly does deserve it. It's an extremely well-made movie. Like I said, 7 out of 10 for me. And now we get into Babylon. This is a movie that I actually seen on Christmas Day. Yeah, I seen this on Christmas Day. It's crazy. I don't even know why I watched it on Christmas Day. I just did. I seen it with a friend, and we both ended up really enjoying this movie. And yeah, it's probably my favorite movie from last year. I didn't see a lot of films from 2022, but I do remember this being up there with the Batman as like 2 top favorites of the year. And there's a lot of reasons why I think that. It's a movie that's made for people that love cinema, that love movies, especially people like me and a lot of my friends I know here on YouTube that can go back and watch the classics and really appreciate the silent era, the 40s, the 50s, even going into the 70s, the 80s. Going back and watching those movies, I really appreciate the things they were able to accomplish. And this movie is a delve into old school Hollywood, going in from starting at the silent film era, going into the talkies, going into when films were able to have sound, and that transition period for the characters of them going from doing silent movies to movies with sound. And I want to say this real quick, just to get it out of the way. Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie did an amazing job in this movie. Margot Robbie's performance is absolutely phenomenal in this movie, and I think she deserves an award for this movie. There are certain scenes that I think that just her performance is so emotional and so well done, and I thought she did absolutely amazing in this movie. And the same thing goes for Brad Pitt. His performance in this movie, I think, is great and phenomenal. And I also think that he's definitely a big highlight of the movie. I also think the rest of the cast does a great job acting. This is a movie that, to me, does everything right. It has a wonderful story, emotional ride. It's crazy. Reminds me a bit of The Wolf of Wall Street. And it has this sort of adventure feel to it, and you feel like you truly go on this journey while watching this movie. And I know a lot of people were upset with how long this movie is. It is over 3 hours long, but I think it's a movie that does it the right way. And to me, I wouldn't shorten that. It's a movie that feels like it's evolving as it's going along. The story is changing, the events that are happening. You really do feel like where the story begins, by the time it gets to the end, you feel like you've went on this massive, like I said before, journey, and just a great story. So I wouldn't change the length of the movie at all. I also do think the music is really well done. Certain sequences I thought were very memorable and very well directed. And I think overall it's a movie that has everything right. The cast, the acting, the music, the time period it takes place in. Very interesting scene, the early days of Hollywood, the silent film era, going into the talking film era. Just the historical side of it, seeing how the world was, where Hollywood was, sort of how Hollywood began, that whole lifestyle. just overall, like I said, I think it does everything right, and it's definitely my favorite film from last year. And I think that both this film and The Whale, why I kind of put them in the same video is leaving the theater after watching these movies, I sort of felt the same way. I would say if it was up to me, I enjoyed Babylon more, but they both are very important movies. So I guess overall, to talk about my final thoughts on Babylon, it's very well acted, very well made, and I do think deserves more attention. I think the movie isn't, at least last time I checked, it wasn't doing that good at the box office. It didn't make as much money as anticipated, most likely. So I want everybody to go out there and watch this movie. Check it out, see it. When it's streaming, watch it. When it's available, watch it whenever you can. Check it out. And I really do think it's a movie that fits the theater experience. Watching it in the cinema is a very big part of this movie. And so I think if you don't watch it in the cinema, it's a part that's probably missing. It's one of those movies that needs to be seen in the theaters to get that full experience. And I think if you're a fan of film, a fan of cinema, and love to look back and see how older movies were, and curious about how they were made and the process that people had to go through to make these movies, like I said, I definitely recommend this movie. For my final thoughts and ratings, it's a great movie, fantastic, my favorite movie of the year from last year. I'm going to give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. It's a very, very well made movie, great journey, well acted, very well directed, and overall, I can't think of anything bad to say about it. So those are my thoughts on The Whale and Babylon. I think that they're both phenomenal movies, and I'm glad to have gotten on here and discussed them with you guys. They were both great cinematic experiences for two different reasons, and it's just great movies. Glad to talk about them with you guys. Anyways, thank you so much for stopping by Deep Fried Awesomeness. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and stay tuned for next time. Peace out, guys.